Today, I'm going to propose a business plan for a sports complex in southeast Minnesota. The Three Rivers Sports Complex is named this due to being in the heart of the Three Rivers High School Athletic Conference. So kind of an overview of the entire presentation. This business proposal is not only a reflection of my dream career, but a facility that I really think will meet the needs of the area. I think we'll be successful because southeast Minnesota is a rural area and there's really not a lot to do. Sports are a common activity to pass the time, not only for varsity or school-related athletics, but of families and people of all generations. There's not a facility like it in the area, and with a large portion of the year snow-covered, an indoor facility will be a great place for athletes, families, older individuals, all kinds of people to come together, exercise, get what they need in, but it also being able to be more family-inducive. The Three Rivers Sports Complex will be volleyball specific. This is obviously because that is where my knowledge lies, my background lies. I would like to start my own club team that is housed through the facility, but families will still be able to pay for membership, allow them access to the facility during operating hours. Some access that they'll have will be open gym, they'll have access to the weight room, to the meeting rooms, and of course all of this would be limited during team practices. To the right is a picture that highlights the population density of Minnesota. Southeast Minnesota is where we will be, and you can see that the density is lower, but it's high enough that it could sustain a facility like this. The map is from the 2010 census, but Minnesota has only grown about 300,000, so the map is still fairly accurate. So the outline. So the first half of the rest of the presentation will kind of be background information about USA Volleyball, the Athletes Unlimited organization, what they're doing with volleyball, some of the competitors that my facility would face, and then there's the business proposal. So the location, how I based my finances, blueprints, amenities, and services. So some of the background information. USA Volleyball. It is a growing industry. The revenue is about $29.6 million, expenses $27.5 million. The net profit, therefore, was $2.1 million. Assets just under $14 million, liabilities about $8.3 million, and net assets were $5.6 million. This is all based on the 2017 990 form. So, in 2017 was one of the better years that in the most recent future. But some of the revenues was grants, donations, competitions, and clinics they put on. Expenses included, but obviously not limited to salaries, traveling, and service fees. The main assets included land, facilities, equipment, and investments. The liabilities are mainly deferred revenue, accounts payable, accrued expenses, and other various liabilities like income tax. So USA Volleyball is a growing industry for both men and women. So obviously men are a little more fast growing just because it has more room to expand and has not been as prominent recently or so far, but it is growing, and that is the main thing. Volleyball is a growing sport. So Athletes Unlimited is partnering with USA Volleyball to create a professional indoor women's league in the United States. This information was released on April 29th, 2020, so it's very, very recent information, and Athletes Unlimited spoke about having this all-star advisory board, which includes Abby Wambach, Kevin Durant, Rich Kleeman, Carolina Wozniak, Jessica Mendoza, Jordan Larson, Karch Kierley, Angela Ruggiero, and Katrina Adams. So all well-known people, professional soccer player, tennis player, basketball player, what have you. All these people coming together to really make sure this league is successful. Like I said, it will be launching in February of 2021. The league will be hosted in one city. All games will be played at one venue. And it will highlight 48 of the best players in the world, including U.S. national team members, professional players, and recent NCAA graduates. The launch of this professional league will further spark a growing interest in the sport of volleyball that is already there. I think by providing this league, it's not only going to spark interest in youth athletes, but it will spark interest in anyone who likes sports, watching sports, and it will just grow and show that there is places to go. Volleyball's not as big of a professional scene, and I think this will prove that there is places to go after college with volleyball. Now for some competitors that the facility would face. So 2 major competitors, National Volleyball Center and Midwest Volleyball Warehouse. Both of them are in the southeast Minnesota area. The National Volleyball Center would be roughly 45 minutes away from where my facility would be housed, and the Midwest Volleyball Warehouse would be roughly 2 hours to the north from where my facility would be. Obviously, in line with these, other competitors would be weight training facilities like Anytime Fitness, things like that. Both the National Volleyball Center and Midwest Volleyball Warehouse have their own club teams, which is kind of unique in the southeast Minnesota area because most club teams are through high schools. So they do have their own where kids can leave their high school teams and kind of expand their horizons with playing with new players. Both have been very successful with their teams, and I think adding a third team to the area would not cause any major dissonance. So the Midwest Volleyball Warehouse, their club team is elite athletes. They send in they are recruited. Colleges will go directly to their club to recruit D1 athletes. And they're both in higher density areas. So like the Midwest Volleyball Warehouse is in Dakota County, which you can see right down here near the heart of Minneapolis and St. Paul. The National Volleyball Center is in Olmsted County, in a higher density county near my counties. But like I said, they already have their clientele base. They're already established. So I think adding a facility that would reach more of the smaller towns and be a little more cost sensitive to the area versus these clubs, you pay a lot of money to try, you pay a lot of money to play. So I think adding a smaller club that can benefit kids by getting them out of their high school teams but also being cost efficient would do great in the area. Now on to the business proposal part of this presentation. As I mentioned earlier, the location of this facility will be in the southeast Minnesota area, highlighted in the light gray on this map. So this is a blown up picture of that area. The red dot right here, Rochester, that is where the National Volleyball Center is located. The other one is up in this area, way at the top. All of the purple dots represent teams or high schools in the Three Rivers Athletic Conference, which my facility was kind of based around in focusing on their teams and their schools and towns to being my clientele base. The yellow star is my preferred location for the facility. It's right off of I-90, a major interstate, and it is in conjunction with 2 major highways, therefore easy access. Even towns a little farther away, like down here in Mower County, can hop on I-90 and get there pretty quickly. I think it's just a great area. Rochester would be the major competitor. It is close, within 45 minutes driving distance, but like I said, I really think that my facility would be able to service these outside towns a lot more than the Rochester facility does. The National Volleyball Center building costs. So this is the one located in Rochester, Minnesota, and like I said earlier, this is the facility that I based not only my designs on, but how I estimated the cost would be. So the original cost for the building in 1986 was $4.6 million. They later renovated in 2012 for $4 million. So the original building is up in the right hand corner, housed 8 courts, the mezzanine level, concessions, and then the weight training areas that they had that were very minor in the training areas, athletic training areas. The renovation then added 3 more courts, some more bathrooms, and then renovated some of the other areas in the building. So, my finances. My initial construction cost estimate, so structural, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, all of that, I'm estimating at about $4.8 million. That also includes the cost of land, which I found 1 acre of land near my area for about $89,000. And I got that $4.8 million, like I said, from the National Volleyball Center's figures. Plus, I talked to a contractor from my hometown who also, kind of it being out of his area of expertise, but also did say that he would estimate it to be around $4.8 million. Some other expenses I factored in were furnishing the facility, putting in the equipment and everything to make it usable, which I estimated about $100,000, and that was with like bare necessities to start. Obviously, as the facility grows, I would like to add more services, add soccer goals that can be brought out during open gym, floor hockey equipment, things like that. So my total estimation for now would be about $5 million rounding up, and then obviously to keep expanding as the years go on, as profit is made. Talking briefly on what I expect the revenues and future finances to be. I expect the first 5 years maybe, to be slow in the profit aspect. Obviously, as the facility is being established, as people are becoming aware of it and becoming familiar with it, and as the team is established, I expect the revenues and profits to be lower. But after 5 years, I expect it to be on a steady incline as people get more familiar with it, more memberships are coming in, more private lessons are coming in, the team gets bigger, and when the facility can start holding different tournaments, bringing in other sports, they'll have a regulation size basketball court that can be put up. Like things that will add to the facility once it's established and it is known that it is a good, safe, reliable area. So, first floor blueprints. The first floor will be a total of 35,000 square feet. It'll house 5 volleyball courts, which will equal about 20,000 square feet of playing area. On the left-hand side, where there's 3 courts in a row, that is where the regulation-size basketball court will be able to be put up. But throughout the facility and in the smaller side, there will also be basketball hoops for open gym types of scenarios. There will be a 1,500 square foot weight room, as you can see up in this corner. There will be a coach's office off of that. 5 are closets. 4 are bathrooms. Number 2 here, that will be the athletic trainer's room. That will definitely be most utilized during tournaments and big events, but it will also be utilized during team practices and even possibly during normal operating hours for members. The second floor is roughly 17,000 square feet. The mezzanine level is 6,000 square feet, which is all right here, and this overlooks the open playing areas on each side. There will be a concessions, office bay, and these 11s are meeting rooms. So the meeting rooms can be utilized for different teams during tournaments. It could be used for teams during practices, but also can be utilized by members to bring in their clubs. Maybe a Girl Scouts troop would come in and utilize it. So, for services, it'll have club volleyball, basketball, weight room, meeting rooms, private lesson abilities, membership, and it'll eventually hold tournaments and things like that. Other final remarks. Minnesota is a top 5 healthiest state. 2 of its major cities were also in the top 10 for healthiest cities out of 100 in the United States. Thank you for coming to my presentation.